All right, back here on the Burns Gambo show as it is time for our weekly visit with the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon, coming off the loss yesterday to the San Francisco 49ers in the short week this week against the Seattle Seahawks. And joining us live right now from the Arizona Cardinals headquarters in Tempe, Jonathan Gannon here on Burns and Gambo. Coach, how are you doing today? Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Very disappointing news about James Conner, and I know you confirmed the news moments ago that he's going to be out for the season with a foot injury. How does the room process something like that when you're talking about a guy like James Conner?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's tough because, those guys know that he's, one of our main leaders, and he wears a lot of hats for us. So aside from being a really good player, the person is a really good dude, So it hurts. It hurts. But, just like with all our guys, you got to fill the role and you kind of got to move on. But there's no doubt we're going to miss him.
How much do you think that moment in the game yesterday impacted the game? Was it a short-term thing?
I mean, obviously the human element and everybody,
Right.
I'm standing there with Fred Warner on the other side, and I know it impacted him. You know what I mean? He's asking, is he okay? Is he okay? You know what I'm saying? So it impacts all athletes that play the sport, don't want to see other athletes get hurt, done. But I think, we talk about that with our guys, that does happen in games. And you got to be able to kind of lock back in and focus on the task at hand and at the moment, because the game's going to go on. And you got to focus in and get back to playing football.
All right, it's a short week, so I feel like I can ask you this one. With James out, you've got Amari and you've got Benson. Would you expect that you call up Michael Carter here?
I don't know. We'll see. We got Bam too, so
Yep.
we'll kind of put it together here the next 24 hours or so, and see how the week goes. But I feel comfortable with who's going to be carrying the ball and who's going to be in there on third down and who's doing what. So guys got to step up and seize their opportunity.
One of your comments is getting a lot of play, so I'm going to read it to you and we'll react. Okay, I had no problems with the offensive play calling. Never will. I know exactly what we're calling. So if you've got a problem with that, you should look at me. That's you. Now, a lot of people have reacted to that because they see an offense that is struggling, 24th in yards per game, 27th in passing yards per game, in the bottom third, I think, in points per game. So I'll ask you, do you feel like there are any issues with the offense? And if so, what can you pinpoint that to?
Yeah, there definitely are some issues with our offense, and I looked at, the first two that in my mind that I see is our run game is not efficient enough. I went through the game and I think we called somewhere around 24 runs, and 17 of them, how I deem efficient, were not efficient. The pass game, I think that we need to generate some more efficiency and a couple more explosives, some more yards, some more catches, and each game is going to present different challenges by what they're doing and their people that they have and the game flow of the game. But there's no doubt about we need to play a little bit better to score more points. And like I said, with the play calling thing, I know what we're doing. I know what we're calling. I know how we're doing things. We got to do it better. And like I said, it starts with me.
I respect you sticking up for your coaches. I mean, good managers, good coaches, good GMs do that. But
Come on.
I do respect
Gambo.
that. I do respect it. Torey Lovullo does it every week with us. He sticks up for his coaches when even things aren't going well. You should. That's what you need to do. You're a leader. You need to stick up for your guys. I respect that. I'm not joking. But are there certain things with Drew that you would like to see different as far as the play calling is concerned?
No, I'll tell you this. I thought his best game that he called this year was this one.
And
so just from when you and how we deem that is when we're looking hey, when we're calling shots, what kind of coverages are we calling shots first? When we're calling runs, what kind of coverage structures are we getting? What are they doing? Are we alternating? Is it known pass? Is it known run? What are we doing third down? What are our play types? I'm very pleased with all of that. I think we definitely need to coach our guys up a little bit better. And I think we need to execute fundamental things that go into making a play work better, and that's everybody. That's a collective effort there.
I'll follow up on the running game here because, you guys have been, under your leadership, this team has been very, very good at running the football, and we watch it week in and week out, and we're just not seeing it. And you're like, man, this team, you got to run the ball to be successful. We know that. That's your bread and butter. You did lose your offensive line coach, Clayton Adams, to the Cowboys. You bring in Justin Fry. Is it a learning experience with him? Is anything different from the coaching of the offensive linemen?
No, not at all. There's a couple techniques that are a little bit different, and honestly, more so in pass pro than in the run game. I think it's a collective effort to just make sure that we're putting our guys in the right position. We know exactly what we're doing mentally before the ball is snapped. That was an issue yesterday. And to make sure that we're using correct fundamentals, all 11 guys, to get plays, to get efficient runs going. And I think, honestly, that's why I'm not panicked about it. It's correctable. We just got to ASAP correct them. And the challenge is now this week, you got to. That's why I think the controllables of knowing what we're doing, putting our hands in the right spot, playing at the right pad level, making sure we're blocking the right people, hitting the right holes, putting the ball where it needs to be put in the run game. It's a new scheme. It's a vastly different scheme. We're going to have a different scheme. But we got to control our technique and fundamentals better than what we're doing right now.
Jonathan Gannon is our guest here on the Burns Gambo Show. We've obviously gotten to know you well and talking to you for the last 2.5 years as coach of the Cardinals, and the things you like, the things you don't, the winnable plays, the non-winnable plays. How do the drops gnaw at you a day later after the fact?
Well, if you look at the game, like that's a fundamental that we got to make sure that we can control, and that's part of the game that happens. But we do have to do when we have our chances to catch the ball, we got to catch the ball. Now, has anybody ever played their career and not dropped the ball? No, I'm not saying that. But that's a fundamental when you're playing a good football team. All those, and it's not just the drops, it's tackling, it's block destruction, it's blocking our guy, it's everything. Those things add up throughout the course of a game and really shrink your margins to win the game. So, and that's all of us collectively. So, that goes into technique and fundamentals of the pass game. We got to make sure we're doing a good job with that.
Not to single him out specifically, but Marv was very hard on himself after that game yesterday. Do you, now that it's 24 hours later, do you want him being that hard on himself after the game? Is it time for?
No, I want him to move on. He's just like anybody in our building. Players, they're more hard on themselves than probably the coaches are. Same thing with coaches, truthfully, but there is a point that you got to learn from what just went on in a game, take those lessons learned, develop a plan, the things that you want to improve, develop that plan to get there, and it's typically pretty simple, and then move on and execute and do it because you don't want to be thinking about the past. I know that. Marv is extremely hard on himself. He's all about the team first, and he wants to impact us in a positive way to help us win. So he is going to be his harshest critic. But, when I talked to him last night, it's, hey, what did we learn? What do I want to see from you? What are you can control? Move on to Seattle.
We have the same issue here. Burnsy's very hard on himself after a bad show. When he has a bad show, he'd be sitting there. We have to console him, me and Mitch and Laura have to come over.
Hard.
Hey, you got to move past this.
You got to move on, Burns.
You got to move on.
There's always the next show coming.
There's another show the next day, right? That's what we tell them all the time.
You guys got the next show in 24 hours. We got the next show in 75 hours. How about that?
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder. That's what we get them. You had a bad show. It's okay. Pick it up. You'll be better tomorrow. We believe in you.
Thanks for the
all
pep
of
talk.
That stuff.
Thanks for the pep talk, guys. I appreciate it.
I do want to ask you about a positive. Mac Wilson, best game I've seen him play as a Cardinal. The passes defended, the big hits, the tackles. I loved the 4th and 1 hit on C-Mac on the pass play. I mean, he just stood out like a sore thumb all over the field in that game.
Yeah, I thought he played well, and I thought he played well week 1, and, I'm not going to give you guys any crazy secrets, but he was down on himself after week 2. And we said, okay, like all right, let's learn from it and move on. And here's what you need to do to do better this next week. And I thought he really focused on that, and he did it. And there's no doubt he was, one of the best football players on the field yesterday. Like, was all over the place, running pass game. The operation was good. He plays so violent. He's doing a hell of a job. He did have a good game.
Leave me with this. The status for Will Hernandez and Will Johnson for this short week against Seattle, and then tell me your thoughts on having to play Seattle on a short week.
The thoughts on the injured guys, or not injured, but guys that didn't go last week, it's going to take a little bit of time here these next couple of days to see where they're at. That's my cop-out answer to that one. And I thought you'd like that, Burnsy.
Is there a decent chance that they play? It is.
I don't know, man. I don't know, Gambo. I really don't know.
I mean, you're supposed to be informing the audience
trying to put
here.
that together. Like, we got no practice. We're playing 75 hours. Like, good luck on that one. No, it's something that we got to figure out. I know that.
Okay. Now, playing Seattle on a short week.
Playing Seattle. So, a divisional game. They're 3-0. Good football team. It's at our place, Thursday Night Football. Our guys will be geeked up.
We'll be there.
I know that the game will come. It's kind of it'll be like it's kind of like week one. Like, it's coming. It's going to come really fast, but you can't think about Thursday Night Football right now. You got to control what you can control, because this is a very different schedule for anybody that plays on a Thursday night. You got to get your body and mind right. You got to absorb a lot more quickly than you do in a normal week. So there's a lot of factors and variables that both teams have to handle, and we got to handle those things the right way to give ourselves a chance to win.
Coach, we appreciate it as always. Best of luck against Seattle. I believe we're going to be talking to you on Friday as well, so twice in 1 week. We appreciate that.
How lucky are you?
I don't know if he wants to answer that. I'm not sure.
You guys sure you want to talk? I thought you guys are off on Friday.
No.
We talk on Monday. We talk on Monday.
It's whatever you want.
Whatever
Coach.
you want.
It's your show.
It's
your show. It's
whatever
you
guys want.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, have a good week.
We'll see you Thursday.
We'll see you there.
Thursday.
That's Jonathan
Bye-bye.
Gannon, head coach of the Cardinals, our guest here on the Burns and Gambo show here on Arizona Sports. So let's react to that real quick, because we're a little off schedule, right? Like, just react and break at our normal time. Okay, that's what I thought. What'd you think?
I think that he's obviously sticking up for Drew and the offensive line coach with the problems, but he's also saying there are issues. Like, there are issues. I was fascinated by, I thought Drew called his best game of the year, where everybody on social media wants Drew Petzing fired, and they're tired of the offense and the offensive struggles. But I think you look at it overall, and you're just seeing an offense through 3 games that hasn't been dynamic, can't get the running game going, can't get Marvin Harrison Jr., to be an elite receiver in this league. I mean, there are individual players, like 15 or 16 individual players in this league that have more receiving yards than the entire Cardinals wide receiving group. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's very fair for us to listen. I mean,
it's fair to ask, of course.
Have to ask the question about Petzing and the offense, but he's sticking by his guy. He thought he called a great game. He just thinks that it's more on the players than it is on the play calling. Yeah,
and I'm glad you asked him about Clayton Adams, because we talked about that a little bit before the break, and how much of an impact that's going to have. But I think asking the Cardinals to reinvent themselves is something we need to talk about. I don't know if asking them to reinvent themselves with 3 days, 5 hours before the Seattle Seahawks come to town, that might be a big ask, right? Like, that might be a lot to ask of this team and this coaching staff, to say, okay, you know what? We were this, now we're going to be that, when you've got 75 hours before the Seahawks game.
Yeah.
But look, we can talk about Marv and the drops all we want. If they can't run, we can talk about Drew Petzing all we want.
If they can't run the ball,
they can't run the football, doesn't matter.
They go nowhere.
It doesn't matter. If they're going to run the football with this lack of efficiency all season long, it doesn't matter whether Drew Petzing is calling the plays, whether Ben Johnson is calling the plays, whether Cliff Kingsbury is calling. It doesn't matter if they can't run the football. And so figuring out that is of utmost importance, like the first thing that needs to be done.
Yeah. No answer on Will Hernandez. No answer on Will Johnson. Bam or Michael Carter. Somebody's going to get called up to replace James Conner for this game on Thursday. I guess that's my biggest takeaway. But I think he thinks a lot of things are fixable. A lot of things are correctable. But it really does start with they got to be able to run the football.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.